welcome you all to today's topic of class 10th, the next chapter, that is the making of a scientist. So it's an interesting story, my dear kids. Don't you think the making of a scientist? Can we make a scientist? And why this thought has arisen in someone's mind that he want to be only and only a scientist? Why not doctor? Why not engineer and all? So let us move to the story and see the slides that why is it exactly given the title as the making of a scientist. Now let us move to the slides. So you can see an image here. It's an image of the author, and the writer name is Robert W. Peterson. So 1925, Warren Pennsylvania, Feb 11, 2006, was an American newspaper writer who later became a freelance author of magazine, articles, books, and especially on the topic of sports. So he was interested mostly in sports and scouting. So his 1970 Chronicle of Negro League Baseball, titled Only the Ball Was White, was hailed by the New York Times as having recaptured a lost era in baseball history and a rich facet of black life in America. So the most important thing is you need to know the exact date of birth of the writer, and you need to write as he was an American newspaper writer, he was freelance author, and these are some of the books which you can see here, some names, right? So now let us move to the next slide. So it's not that visible to you. It's my humble request to all my dear kids, just pay attention what I'm going to say. So here Richard H. E. Bright, just write down the name, that is Richard H. E. Bright, along with his roommate, surprised the world at young age of 22. So from here, from the first line itself, we can come to know that Richard is the main protagonist of this story. And at the age of 22, he surprised the entire world. How? When they explained the theory on how cells work in a paper published in the Proceedings of National Academy of Science. So they discovered that the theory on how cells work, and it was published in which paper? National Academy of Science. So this valuable magazine had published the work of college students for the first time. So this magazine was mostly for the college student, and the work of this college student were published in this paper. So for Richard, it was one of many achievements that he had received later in his life. And he says that all this curiosity started with butterflies. So as we all know that behind a success, there definitely will be a story, right? So for this discovery of cell, his U-turn was, he says that all this curiosity started with butterflies. So E. Bright grew up in Pennsylvania and was the only child of his parent. He could have not done much there as there were very less people living there. So as there were very less people living there, he says that he could only do one thing alone, and that was collecting things. As he had no friends to play football or baseball with, can you live alone in this world? No, we need a company, we need a friend, right? So similarly, he was not having much friend and he was lonely. So in that case, he started collecting things to spare his time. So he had begun collecting butterflies, rocks, fossils, and coins from the time when he was in kindergarten. So think how curious this little boy was. Do you ever think in your dream that a small kid in kindergarten will show such kind of interest in this collecting butterfly, rocks, fossils and all? No, not at all. So he was one of them, and he started collecting all this in order to spare his time. So he also used to keep on staring at stars, and sometimes the whole night, as he was interested in studying astronomy. Wow, isn't it inborn talent? Yes. Now let us move to the next slide. E. Bright had always been curious to learn new things and had a sharp mind. His mother used to encourage him to learn, and she used to make him on learning trips, used to buy him telescopes and other instruments that would help him in learning new things. His mother was his only friend until he went to school, and after he had started going to school, his mother would get his friends home. He and his mother used to stay together at night and they used to do and learn things together. And Ebright, who was nicknamed Richie by his mother. So, what was the nickname of Ebright? Richie. So, mother was the only supporter and she was the only lady, only friend of Ebright by his mother, and she used to provide all the instrument what was needed for his learning. Richie by his mother was her whole life and support system after his father died. So father is dead and Richie was the only support for mother. And his father died when he was in 3rd grade. They used to spend most of the evening together, and if he did not have anything to do, his mother would find him some tasks for learning. So he used to like the learning work that his mother used to give him, as that was what he wanted to do and learn about more and more new things. And he was a bright student as he used to score good in class and also was regular in his daily tasks. By the time he was in 2nd class, he had collected all the 25 species of butterfly. Wow, isn't it so different? That his child in 2nd class, he has already collected 25 different kind of species of that to be butterflies, and they were found in his neighborhood. So he thought that it would have been the end of his butterfly collection if his mother would have not got him a children's book called The Travels of Monarch. So the book told how the monarch butterflies migrated to Central America, which was the turning point for Ebright as it turned his curiosity towards science. So sometimes you would have watched many advertisements, many movies or many ads that when a celebrity is being asked that what was the U-turn behind all these options, then they will definitely have a background history to it. So similarly, here the background history is that the children book which told the entire history of this monarch, right, of this butterfly. The book name is The Travels of Monarch. So the book told how the monarch butterflies migrated to Central America, which was the turning point for Ebright as it turned his curiosity towards science. Now let us move to the next slide. And at the end of the children's book that his mother had got him, the readers of the book were invited to help the study of butterfly migration. Wow. So they were asked to tag butterflies by Dr. Frederick Urquhart of the University of Toronto in Canada. So Dr. Frederick was from the University of Toronto in Canada, and Richie's mother wrote to the doctor, and soon he was attaching adhesive tags to the wings of the butterfly. So how helpful, how kind this mother was towards his son. Don't you think our parents also support, and without their support we would be nowhere in this world, right? So in order to get success in life, we need our backbone, and that is our mother and father. The person who would find a butterfly with a tag was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart, and the butterfly collecting season lasted for around 6 weeks. And then Ebright understood that if he kept on collecting butterflies one by one, he would not be able to collect many. So the next step he took was that he decided to raise a flock of butterflies in his basement. So what he did, he started to raise a flock of butterflies, many butterflies, and he used to catch a female in his basement through their proper life cycles. Then he used to tag the wings of the butterfly and would let them go. So there were thousands of monarchs in his basement growing in different life stages for many years, and soon he started losing interest in tagging butterflies. So definitely when you do something for a long period of time, then definitely there a moment will come where you will lose interest. So same thing happened with this Ebright, and as it was a very slow and tiring process, it also did not get him much response. So he said that out of the many butterflies that he tagged, only 2 could be recaptured by people, and those 2 were not more than 75 miles away from where he lived. To the next slide. When he was in 7th class, this was all about the story of 2nd class. Now, at the age when he reached to 7th class, what he did, he came to know what real science was, and he lost at a county science fair. It was a really sad feeling for him to see all other people win something while he did not win anything. Definitely, if you are in a competition and if you don't get anything, still in any corner of our heart, we feel very bad that why did I not? Why not I? So, similarly, he also felt the same thing. And something while he did not win anything, and he showed frog tissue slides under a microscope, but realized that all the winners had actually tried to perform an experiment and not just make a neat display out of their projects. So everyone was performing an experiment. It's not like just display out all the projects what you are having. So they were totally different, and he had already started developing the competitive spirit inside. Yes, definitely he will create that competitive spirit, because since from the childhood itself, since from kindergarten, he is very much curious towards this all collecting things and all. So definitely he or she will be hardworking person, and he will develop the feeling of curiosity, and the competitive spirit will be in his entire blood. So now he had decided that he would be making a real project for the next year fair. So he have already decided that okay, fine, if I am not getting this year, then no issue. Next time I'll work hard and will come up with a real project. So he thought and realized that he had maximum knowledge about the subject of insects. And as he had been studying them, so what he did, for quite some time now, he wrote to Dr. Yuko for ideas, and he sent back a lot of ideas for his next year project. So he remained busy with those ideas all throughout his high school. So entire high school he was busy in making that project and all, and getting lot of idea from Dr. Yuko from Toronto University. So now in his 8th class, he was in 7th class, he started this ideas, collecting ideas, whereas in 8th standard, what happened, he tried to find the cause of viral disease that killed nearly all monarch caterpillar every few years. So see, at every class he's changing his things, and Ebright thought that the disease was being transmitted through beetles. So he started raising caterpillars in the presence of beetle, and it was of no use. But when he showed that he had tried such an experiment, he won something for his project. And for the next year, he tried the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarch. So he put forward the theory that viceroy butterfly look like monarchs, because monarchs do not taste good to the birds, and birds like to eat viceroy. So the more the viceroy look like the monarch, the less likely it is that viceroy would be eaten by a bird. And now he came up with a new experiment, and he wanted to show in his. So this is all about part 1. It was very lengthy chapter, so I have divided into 2 parts. So this was all about the stages and the experience that he collected, he did in his life, and the main protagonist is, as we know, Ebright. So this was all about his story, his experience, and in the next video we will be meeting in part 2, and we will see what exactly he came up next year with a new experiment. Till then, have a nice day, and thank you all for watching my audio. For any queries, comments, feedback, do comment on my chat box. Till then, have a nice day.